Mute your microphone when you are not speaking, and please do not speak over each other. I'd also like to welcome our guests who are here today. It's nice to see faces in the audience. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of our Lawndale Elementary School District family. Thank you. Are there any public comments from the audience on agenda or non-agenda items? Ms. Hadogi, would you please read the board bylaw?
A person wishing to be heard by the board shall first be recognized by the president and shall then proceed to comment as briefly as the subject permits. Individual speakers shall be allowed 3 minutes to address the board on each agenda or non-agenda item. The board shall limit the total time for public input on each item to 20 minutes. The board shall take no action or discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda except as authorized by law.
Thank you. We have no public comments, therefore there's no need for clarification. At this time, the board will move into closed session at 5:04. Closed session after we return from closed session. Would you like for me to do it now, board? I could. Okay, we're going to come back into open session. I apologize for the error. We will move into closed session for Personnel Matters Governance Code 54957.1 and Public Employee Discipline / dismissal / release / leave of absence resignations Governance Code sections 44930 through 4498. 505. Thank you. We are reconvening into open session at 5:30. We ended closed session at 5:26. During closed session, the board discussed, pardon me, Personnel Matters Governance Code 54957.1 and Public Employee Discipline, Dismissal, Release, Leaves of Absence, Resignations, Governance Code Sections 44930 and 44988. Also in the closed session, the board took a vote to accept the recommendation of the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources to dismiss from employment a permanent classified senior custodian identified by employee number JW6050095 pursuant to Education Code Sections 45113 and 45116. District Board Policy Administrative Regulation 4218 and Article 12 of the Classified Collective Bargaining Agreement, and directed the superintendent or designee to send out appropriate legal notices. The roll call was unanimous as follows. 5 in favor, no nays, no abstentions. Superintendent Castro?
Thank you, Trustee Coronado. Unfortunately, our student Timothy Dongo, who's a fifth grader from Smith Elementary School, was feeling unwell, so he is not able to lead us in the flag salute.
Hopefully, we can invite him back at a future date. At this time, I would like to ask Trustee Morales, our former board president, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Please stand. To the flag, the right hand of the heart, ready, begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I continue to hope and pray. Thank you, Trustee Morales. Superintendent Castro?
Roll call, members of the board, President Bonnie Coronado.
Here.
Clerk Shirley Rudolph.
Here.
Trustee Kathy Burris.
Here.
Trustee Ann Phillips.
Here.
Trustee Adi Morales.
Present.
And all members of cabinet are present. We have 4 in-person guests, 5 in-person guests, 3 on Zoom, and 2 on YouTube.
At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda. Are there any comments or questions or adjustments or anything to change with the agenda? No, ma'am. Okay, at this time, would you please vote on your devices to accept the agenda as presented? Again, reminding the board that it was the motion was made by Trustee Phillips and seconded by Trustee Morales. Would you like us to take a hand vote?
Nope, there it is.
Motion carries 5-0. Superintendent Castro?
At this time, I would like to introduce our directors for our early childhood education programs at Carson, Dr. Tia Belt Brown and Miss Sharon Osman. And they will be talking about the amazing LEAP program and our amazing state preschool program. I'm sorry, Dr. Pamelia.
My apologies, Superintendent Castro, President Coronado and members, trustees. I just wanted to brief you to the packet that you received is a full packet, and we had gone through some edits over the times. And so you will see a condensed version. You will see all of the slides that are on there, but some of them we had synthesized so that our information would be a little bit more concise. And those were hidden slides in that presentation. So where you might see some slides up there that are skipped over on your.
Thank you for your clarification.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Tia Brown. I'm the Director of Preschools and Early Education, and I am excited to be before you today to talk about our Early Childhood Education Center along with Ms. Sharon Osmond.
Good evening. It's okay. I know I'm short. Good evening, President Coronado, members of the board, members of cabinet. We're very proud to be here tonight to talk about our early education programs at Carson. Very excited for this partnership.
And in assisting us in the presentation, I also have Nancy Ortega, our resource teacher, and Karen Bermudez, which is our community liaison. Sorry. Oh, thank you. There we go. We will.
I can do it. Next slide. Tell me when.
Okay. Next slide. Okay. So we prepared our presentation to align with the 4 district drivers in which we have. So district goal 1, which is our driver of increasing academic achievement. We currently have AM and preschool programs at 5 of our sites, full AM and P. Oh, sorry, district drivers? No.
Just go back a slide.
Back. It's okay. There you go. Okay, thank you. So our district drivers, we will go through in terms of goal 1, increasing academic achievement. Goal 2, ensuring access and equity. Goal 3, improving parent and student engagement. And of course, goal 4, providing 21st century learning environments in all of our preschool programs. Currently, there are 5 AM and PM programs operating at Anderson, Carson, Greene, Mitchell, and Twain. This school year, we introduced 2 full-day programs, which are at Carson and Mitchell. We are currently serving all 3- and 4-year-olds in our state preschool program, and we are ecstatic to just remind the board and cabinet that we have staff that have over 20 years of experience. Currently, we are serving all families within the Lawndale service area, as well as, of course, our neighboring Hawthorne, Los Angeles, Gardenias. With state preschool, our boundaries are limitless. So we are able to service the families. We do work with families once they are school age, within the process of applying for interdistrict permits. We use high school curriculum. And our curriculum is inclusive of practices that are adult interaction. We look at our adult interactions with students. We look at routines for students, making sure that students have systematic routines that they can expect daily. And it's also student-centered and student-led. So based on student interest, they come back talking to our staff about things in which they've seen, and we build lessons around that for them so that they could explore and learn more. I would also like to add, this year in terms of quality rating, we are in QSLA, which is Quality Start LA. This is a program that rates our preschool program. Currently, we are at a tier 3 rating, and we're hoping to improve to a tier 4 or 5 based on metrics that have been met in terms of having highly qualified teaching staff, having a director that is qualified, having ratios of 1 to 8, so 1 adult to every 8 students. And so we are currently in the process of receiving recertification, and we're excited about that.
What's the highest rating?
The highest rating is a 5.
Thank you.
Yes. Next slide. So our current enrollment, we currently have 162 students. In this, Sharon will discuss a little more. We have 9 students that are exceptional need. And so we have a co-teaching model where they are receiving support through the special education lens as well as in the state preschool. So they're dually enrolled. And before you, I have a spreadsheet of how this is broken down. Currently, we have 16 students in our Anderson program, and 16 is our max. And then we currently have 10 students in our PM, 14 at Carson, AM, PM. Now, these numbers were generated as of Monday of this week, and I do know that we are continuing to enroll. Okay. Thank you. Next. And now I will have Nancy, who will introduce District Goal 2, which is ensure access and equity.
Good evening, everyone. So for this slide, we have 3 items. We have the ASQ, which is Ages and Stages questionnaire. We have our DRDP and our class tool that we use in our program. For our ASQ, those are given to families upon enrollment, and that provides us an overview of the child based on the parents' insight. So that is valuable information that we are able to document. And with that, we share that with the teacher. For our DRDP, these are assessments done every 60 days. So teachers have an opportunity to meet with families to go over their development, their progress, and also address whatever screenings if they were monitoring the child based on the ASQ results. And lastly, we have our class tool, which we use to improve child and teacher interactions. And that's broken down into 3 criteria, which is our emotional support, classroom organization, and instructional support. Next slide. On this slide, we are meeting our District Goal 3 to improve parent and student engagement. We have, oh, we have to turn the pages, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. No. Sorry, okay. So we have a resource teacher. I am the resource teacher for the program. I am very happy that I have had the opportunity to coordinate and lead, whether it be staff events or community events like our Lawndale Parade. I help support classrooms as far as coverage, making sure that we continue to do our 1-to-8 ratio, which is key in getting our 5 tier for QSLA. And also parent meetings. We provide surveys to families. If they're interested in certain criteria, we provide those resources as well. Okay. Yep.
Hello, my name is Karen Bermudez, and I'm the new community liaison for preschool. And my role is to assist families with communication, such as Parent Square. And we have been working hard as a team to strengthen the communication between parents, teachers, and staff. My goal coming in was making sure all the parents had access to Parent Square. And I also help share community resources to our families that are in need. And then one of the ways we improve parent engagement is through our Parent Advisory Committee. We're very lucky to have a great group of parents be part of a parent advisory committee who collaborate with us on a variety of school issues, activities, and services. They help promote parent and community participation in the school, provide volunteers, help identify concerns of students or parents, and we've had a great turnout so far. So we're very lucky to have those parents in our PAC meetings. Another way we improve student engagement is through our family engagements. That's probably one of my favorite things about preschool is our family engagements. These events encourage parent-child interactions. We kicked off the year with the ESMO event at Carson. It was a great success. The kids had fun making piñatas and flower crowns, and it's just nice to have all the parents come together. We also have quarterly events in our classrooms where we invite parents to come in and explore different topics, such as we recently did Indigenous People Day. We're going to be doing women's history, or even just as simple as talking about winter and snow and just different topics that it's a great opportunity to have the parents come in and to engage with their child and see things from their perspective. And next slide. Okay, we also have our parent workshops and school events. Our parent workshops are an additional resource that we provide to our parents and families with tools to enhance their home environment for their children. And one of them is our parent Zoom workshop, and kids really enjoy it because they get to take a kit home with fun toys to play with, and they get to learn through play. And we have someone lead the parents through this playtime, and it's a lot of fun. We also have our new Positive Solutions workshop. It just launched, and it's a 7-part series, and it's where we give the parents tools to positive parenting. And it was a great success, and we saw that there was a great interest, and we hope to see more parents involved in our next meetings. And we also have many more upcoming special events, such as Career Week. We're having parents come and volunteer their time and talk about their careers or professions with the children. We also have Read Across America, Week of the Young Child, Lawndale Parade, and our Literacy Night at the library. So we're very busy. But we're excited for all of these events. Thank you.
And I would like to add, Karen actually is a state preschool parent. So she's a community liaison as well as a state preschool parent. So she actually gets to participate in many of the parent engagements that we have. So quarterly, we have parent engagements where we've purchased kits. And so the foundation is that we want students and parents to be able to engage together. So materials and work that we work on with students in the classroom, we've ordered kits for parents to take home. And then through Zoom, we explore, we either read a book, we have scavenger hunts of just looking within their home for the color blue and just to talk about it with their parents. So we do believe in just the importance of parents being their child's first teacher. And we know that at preschool, this is where they build that foundation to fall in love with learning as we prepare them to enter into TK and K. Next slide. Lastly, as far as our goal 4, which is to provide 21st century learning, we have something that is called the program self-evaluation that we do annually. And it is a self-evaluation in which staff, we all take surveys as well as parents to rate ourselves to see where is there always room for improvement, room for growth, what are we doing well, what would we like to expound upon further. And so parent surveys and our monthly newsletters and feedback from parents, we have found extremely vital to the success of our program. In addition to that, we look at our employee surveys. So we frequently just survey our employees as well as looking at our ASQs from families to see where are needs. Oftentimes, parents are enrolling students saying, I think my child may be in need of speech. I think they're socially disconnected. So we use this material to look to see where our teachers need professional development and where there are materials in which we could purchase to help implement and teach in the classroom. So before you see little images of kimochis, and kimochis are just little animals that we use in the classroom to talk about social emotional well-being and development. And that ties into our second step curriculum. And we have found that to be a very good teacher resource for the students as well as for the teachers.
I could use one right now.
Okay, I'll get you one. I'll make sure I send it through our superintendent. Thank you. Next slide. So now I will have Ms. Osmond speak about LEAP and Early Start.
Thank you, Dr. Belt-Brown. First and foremost, I just want to start by saying I am so happy to be here tonight in collaboration with State Preschool, with Dr. Brown, with Karen and Nancy. This is a first. This is truly a first. We have embarked on the last 2 years with Dr. Brown at the helm of State Preschool as a truly inclusive and collaborative partnership, serving and supporting all of our students. So this is truly a milestone for us tonight, and as I talk about our earliest programs for supporting our students with special needs. Next slide. So the Carson site houses many programs, obviously, as State Preschool is talking about, expansion into full-day programs, our earliest, youngest learners, our Early Start program. So yesterday, we were actually able to tour Dr. Castro through our site. She got to see just the full-blown opportunities that we provide all of our children. And here you see a picture on the bottom there of Dr. Castro helping make elephants in one of our DHH classrooms. So I was quick. I took that picture and put it right on there. So our Early Start program serves and supports our youngest learners 18 months to 3 years old. This is one of our Southwest SELPA programs. It's a regional program. So we're supporting children from our 12 districts, and currently we have 9 of 12 districts represented in our program. These are for our children who are deaf and hard of hearing, who also are medically fragile, orthopedically impaired. The sense of joy and love that you feel as you walk into these classrooms is just so overpowering. You just want to go sit in there and just really take it all in. I welcome anyone and everyone here to come join us and really just get that opportunity. These children are just absolutely precious, and the teachers are so well versed in their understanding of the children and the disabilities. Not only do they provide services in the center-based program at Carson, but they also go into the households. So the program scope and dynamic is home-based services as well as these early intervention services. We utilize a number of different strategies and curriculums, Frog Street curriculum, which is really designed for our earliest learners. And then you also heard DRDP. You'll hear DRDP throughout this. That is a common tool that we all use. Currently, we serve and support approximately 40 children on a rotating basis as they age out at 3 years old and they go into their own district programs or into other Southwest SELPA programs. So next slide. So our LEAP program, which is our Lawndale Early Advantage Preschool. LEAP, as you've heard me talk in prior years, is one of my pride and joy here in Lawndale. I love this program. I feel we truly provide excellent support at the earliest age, 3 to 4, for our children with significant needs. Students who qualify for this program are doing so through a variety of areas. It could be related specifically to their disability. They may be on the autism spectrum. They might have intellectual disability, speech, variety of different areas that we serve and support. And those referrals come to us from Westside Regional Center. We get those referrals prior to their 3rd birthday. They might come through state preschool. Again, we work collaboratively together. We work through an MTSS process, as well as requests from our Lawndale families and parents and guardians. And you can see here we have our children just so joyful and loving the opportunity on our beautiful playground that we have there, our inclusive classrooms, and just really opportunities for us to support our children at that early age, because early intervention is truly key to supporting our students who have disabilities. Next slide. So the program structure really focuses on things very similar to state preschool. There are a lot of commonalities. We really look at social, emotional, physical, cognitive, and language development. Everything that we do within our program is designed to encourage language. It's designed to encourage socialization. It's designed to encourage different opportunities for all of our learners. That image that you see on the top there, that is actually outside of our playground as well as our nursing area. So that our children who may not always be able to verbalize their emotions and their feelings can use this board to help communicate to others. We encourage communication throughout the program.
We need one of those too.
We can get you one. We can work on the symbols you'd like to see on there. Everything is really made to be structured in a developmentally appropriate way, embedded with this language-rich, this very sensory supportive environment, because we know that our children learn in a modality of different ways. The daily routine is always consistent. We teach social skills. We have very dynamic centers, and we're really focused on teaching not only self-regulation skills, because we are preparing them for TK and K, but also independence. We progress monitor in a variety of ways through our IEP meetings, which occur once a year, sometimes more, as well as the DRDP. And our kids truly thrive in this environment. Next slide. So what I would love to say, and I'm very proud to say, over the course of the last 3 years, we have worked in partnership with the CDE, not always in true partnership at the beginning stages, because we came in at a point where we were in intensive review for our preschool program. The pandemic did a doozy on a lot of us. We really needed to reevaluate how we were doing things. We really needed to reevaluate how we were supporting all of our learners and build inclusive environments. And we took that opportunity working with CDE to make just sweeping changes to our program, again, in partnership with State Preschool. So we are now making our way, we are out of intensive, we're into targeted review, and we're actually very close to reaching our LRE, which is our least restrictive environment threshold. What does that all mean? We're making wonderful strides in greater and greater inclusion and independence for our students. You can see some of our lovely children here just really enjoying their time. Next slide. So one of the things that I am definitely the most proud of, because this was a collaborative effort amongst all of us, is the co-top model that we brought to the LEAP program, and that was in 22-23. We've always had peer partners, and those are our children who are typically developing, who join us, because without our peer partners, we would not have an inclusive program. So our co-top model, which is a full-day program, excuse me. Our co-top model, which is a full-day program, has significant amount of peer partners. All of our classes have peer partners. We approach our program in a way where our peer partners are typically developing children who are moving throughout all of our classrooms throughout the day. They push in, they're out on the playground together, they're there full day, they're in all of our AM and PM sessions as well. It really helps us provide socially appropriate models for all of our children. The partnership that we have with State Preschool has allowed us to have children who are also dually enrolled and supported. So those 9 children that Dr. Bell Brown spoke about earlier, they're dually enrolled and supported in both programs. And we hope to see that number continue to grow. We've set aside seats. We've worked with State Preschool. We've worked with Dr. Brown to ensure that seats are also set aside for our children with disabilities. So that inclusion model continues to grow as we continue to grow. Our multi-tiered systems of support, I've been working very closely with our LEAP staff, with Dr. Brown, with our district SPED department, our BCBA, with Nancy, to really develop what we call a multi-tiered system of support. So we're helping identify children who are not in the LEAP pipeline, but might need additional supports. So we really are looking to create that transition from preschool up to TK and K for all of our children. Next slide. So some of the areas that I definitely want to highlight as well are family engagements and supports. So on a monthly basis, we have an event with families. Up to this point in the year, we've had our Loteria, our fall event, Halloween, our winter concert, DRDP parent meetings, and tomorrow we actually have story time with the teacher. Very, very excited about that. One of the tools that we also use is Ready Rosie, which is an app that can be downloaded onto a phone, and it's a family engagement tool for our parents. So I'm going to actually read a quote from one of our teachers, Marty Lyons. So Ready Rosie is an extension of our classroom curriculum that encourages our parents to continue learning with their child at home. It's accessed through their phones. There's a campus-wide parent day where we demonstrate an activity and make sure the parents are connected. This supports parents with ideas that are developmentally appropriate, educational, and fun. Our parents are able to use these activities with siblings of different ages, since ideas are provided to adapt to the activities. And the activities use items that are easily found in their home and community. So if, for example, there might be meaningful meal time. So there's a 2-minute video on the phone the parents can watch that shows them how to engage with their child in a meaningful way. And it's a tutor of sorts for the families. So our families are able to come in, learn how to use this resource, and then use that at home. In addition to this, IEPs, transition meetings, DRDP parent meetings, these are all ways where we're able to communicate on a continuous basis about our children's progress. And not last at all, our staff trainings. It's extremely important that we're training our staff in a variety of ways to ensure that they know what are the most appropriate, newest, best strategies and tools. So these are just a sampling of some of the trainings that our staff have participated in this school year. Next slide. So at this time, we welcome any questions.
Would the board or any board members like to make a comment or ask a question?
I have no questions.
Thank you, Trustee Phillips. I'm not forcing anyone.
I have no questions either. Just to thank you for all the information.
Thank you,
Keep up
Trustee
the good
Rose.
work.
Thank you. Trustee Morales?
Thank you. Great presentation. Many years ago, my kids were part of the LEAP program. And I know that it did make a difference in the lives and the academics. As a parent, sometimes it's hard to understand and accept the needs of our children, you know. But a friend of mine says, you know what, it's a resource, take it. And we went for it. And they have been successful, you know. My youngest children, one is about to get his bachelor's degree from UC Santa Barbara this spring. So very excited about that. So, and I know that over the years, the LEAP program has done miracles, you know, and that's thank you to all the staff that is there to support our children. And I know that preschool is also important, you know, the earlier the better, you know. As it is, we know this, you know, like from a lot of our children's, they already come with a big vocabulary deficiency, you know, if they're not take it, they don't take advantage of the preschool. And then, you know, that achievement gap gets wider, you know. But programs like this and, you know, and just people that really care about the children does make a difference. So personally want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Phillips, would you like to say something?
I do. I actually had two children in the LEAP program. I think Kevin was the first one. And they received their speech therapy during the LEAP program, and I appreciate that. I have a question from a mom who has a little boy who's about 2.5 now, and all of a sudden he stopped talking. So she's paying for speech therapy. But would that qualify for the LEAP program?
So at 2.5, you'll want to direct her to her local regional center.
Okay.
Start with the pediatrician, definitely share the
what they did.
concerns. And depending on where she lives geographically, there are regional centers that support those different geographic areas.
Okay, he turns 3 in May. Would he be eligible for next year?
So at the age of 3, that's when we'll want to ensure that we're looking at the potential to assess for an IEP. So it's very critical that wherever your friend lives, whatever,
Lawndale.
then you want to get her in contact with regional center and then with us too. Yeah.
So when she should do that?
He's going to be 3 what
May.
month? In May?
End of
I
May.
would start with regional center right now, and then she can go ahead and come on in here and put in her concerns to us at the special education office or at Carson, and then we can follow up with her.
Okay, thank you.
Clerk Rudolph, any comments or questions?
Just how proud I am of all of you. You did a fantastic job. Keep up the good work. Keep our youngsters getting ready for school.
Thank you.
They come better prepared thanks to you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. And part of that being prepared is I teach a K-1 combo right now, and I can tell the difference between, yes, I know I need prayer. I can tell the difference between kids who I actually have a first grader who has never been in school. So just learning the routines that you mentioned early on in your presentation about procedures, standing in line, how to raise your hand, how to appropriately get the teacher's attention, those are vital because it makes a difference when we get to particularly first grade, when we're really learning or beginning to learn. I was very impressed that you offer an opportunity for employees to take a survey because it makes employees hopefully stop and reflect on what they do well and to give themselves kudos, and then to reflect on what things they might want to change to be even better. That's important, and I thank you for doing that. And one celebration that I might want to encourage you to do, it's kind of short notice, is to celebrate 100 days of school.
Monday.
Well, it's different for different school districts. I work for a school district that stopped working for 2 days because we were in very poor air quality situation. So mine's been pushed forward for a couple of days. So, but Cheerios and trying to string 100 of them. Anyway, I thank you for the opportunity to hear you and to hear what's going on. And on behalf of the board, I thank you so very much. And Karen, I have a question. Are you related to another Bermudez family in the city? Please tell her I think of her often as I pass her house. And I'm so sorry that she retired. I miss her. Thank you. Must be daughter-in-law.
Yes.
Thank you, Karen. See, we really are a community. Our families believe in our school district and they want to be a part of it in whatever way they can, whether volunteering or working or enrolling a child in our programs. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Does anyone need a break?
Before the audit, we
Mhm.
better.
Okay, Superintendent Castro?
Next, we have audit report for the period. Sorry, next we have our audit report for the period ending June 30th, 2024 by Eide Bailey LLP. Dr. Ho, is there anything you want to share?
Why do you have a suitcase packed in your office? It's a joke.
Good evening, everyone. I'm going to try to make this as simple as possible for you. So I'm first going to go over the district audit report with all of you. It is quite a large report. So we're going to go over the most important page, which is going to be page 96, which is towards the back of the report. This is called the summary of auditors' results. So this is a thicker book? Yes, the very thick one. So on this page, it gives a really great snapshot of what the auditors do. So we actually have three components of our audit. One is the financial statement audit. That is where we're looking at the numbers in the unaudited actuals, which were presented to you back in September. And we're making sure those numbers are accurate. So we're going to look at your cash. We're going to look at your bank account activity, make sure that's all reconciled. Look at the validity of your accounts receivable transactions, things like that. So you can see that for the financial statements, we issued an unmodified opinion. This means it is a clean opinion. There was no adjustments to the unaudited actuals. So those numbers there are also what's in the report. And there was no findings related to the financial statements. So it is a good opinion. That's what one wants to see for their financial statement audit. And there was no non-compliance noted related to that. So the next section of this schedule is related to the federal awards. This is the larger part of the audit in terms of compliance. So we're looking at your federal programs that are offered here. So like special education, that's usually a program that's audited every year because of how large the program is here. We also audited the Title I program this year, and I'm happy to say that we issued an unmodified opinion over those programs for this year. So that means that there was no issues related to internal controls. There was no findings of non-compliance. They were clean programs for the year. So the last section that we audit is related to state compliance. This is a list of requirements that the Department of Education wants us to look at. There's specific programs like we look at your attendance. We're also looking at anything that might be a new program like the Prop 28 Arts and Music. So it's quite a long list. It's in one of the opinions if you really want to look. But I'm happy to say that we were able to issue an unmodified opinion over the programs. We do have a current year finding related to the classroom teacher salaries, which was the same finding from last year. However, we were able to still issue an unmodified opinion due to the circumstances. So I know that finding was presented last year as well, and it was related to a lot of the one-time funding that the district received due to the pandemic. So hopefully with those fundings going away, this finding will go away as well. Does anyone have any questions on the district report before I go to the bonds? Okay. Perfect.
Not me.
Well, I'm going to ask my question now.
Absolutely.
So maybe Because I'm not sure. Do you, in the future, do you see anything that might come up for compliance requirements that we need to get ahead of now instead of waiting?
You know, a lot of the training from the state is really good in terms of making sure compliance is met. So like I know the Prop 28 Arts and Music, that money kind of came in and then there was a lot of questions. And I've always said I'm an open door to everyone. So if there was ever questions on compliance, on how to meet it, things like that, I always offer my services to Howard and let him know, like, our firm really has a good resource. We work closely with the state controller's office as well, to really understand what is that compliance. So if you're not getting the answers from CDE or from the County Office of Education, definitely always reaching out to us. We always appreciate the proactiveness, ensuring that compliance is met.
Thank you. All right, you may go on to bonds now.
Okay, so I'm going to go over the first measure, which is Measure L. And I'm going to kind of highlight a couple pages in there. So the first page, see if I can find it. Okay, so the first page I want to highlight is on page 12. It's actually blank. And this is the findings related to the financial statement piece for Measure L. So for the bonds, we do look at the financial statements of that activity as well as the performance piece, which is making sure that it's being spent in accordance with what the voters approved on. So from the financial statement side, we issued that unmodified opinion. There was no findings noted. So you'll see there's a blank page. And then if you go towards the back of the report on page 17, you'll see the audit results, and this is where we talk about the results of the performance piece of the audit. So you can see that we have, based off our results, we've indicated that the expenses were properly accounted for and they were made for the authorized projects in accordance with what was approved by the voters. So that means that there was no non-compliance related to the testing that we performed over that. So that was for Measure L. I'm going to go over the next one, which is Measure EE, which is the new one. And you'll see the same, will be exactly the same as other pages from the other report. If you go to page 12, you'll see that again, a blank page for the financial statement findings. So there was no adjustments, there was no non-compliance related to that. So it was a clean, unmodified opinion issued over that. And then towards the very back of the report, onto page 16, you'll see the audit results related to the performance piece. Now, I know the Measure EE funds were issued in May, so there wasn't a lot of activity to audit at that time, but we still wanted to make sure that the funds were accounted for properly. So you'll see that we are saying that the district has properly accounted for those expenditures in accordance with the authorization of the bond. So there was no findings as well for the performance piece of the audit. Any questions over the bond reports?
I see no lights.
No questions from me?
Should we keep Dr. Ho at the helm?
I think he's doing a great job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I think we should also say to you, Dr. Ho, that thank you to Monique and her staff that are supporting you in this audit and support your overall endeavors in keeping us fiscally sound. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yes, I do want to acknowledge Monique and her department, specifically Luis Diaz, our senior accountant. Luis worked real closely with Emily and her team during the audit, and with the support of Luis, Emily and her team, they were in and out of here within, I think it was 2 days.
Yeah.
Did we save parking for you?
We had parking spots here, yes.
Oh, okay. You always want to make sure the auditors are happy.
We also got snacks from Howard, so he was very nice.
Very good, Howard. Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you. I hope you don't have a far distance to drive. All right, thank you. Superintendent Castro?
Thank you, President Coronado. Next, we have correspondence from the LA County Office of Education, Clerk Rudolph.
I have a letter from the Los Angeles County Office of Education addressed to Ms. Bonnie Coronado, Board President. Dear Ms. Coronado, pursuant to Education Code EC Section 42131, the Los Angeles County Superintendent of Schools, County Superintendent has completed our review of the Lawndale Elementary School District's 2024-25 first interim report. Our analysis of the data provided indicates that the district should be able to meet its financial obligations for the current fiscal year and subsequent 2 fiscal years. We therefore concur with the district's positive certification and offer our comments and concerns below. We noted that the district submitted an updated fiscal stabilization plan, FSP, and continues to be guided by Resolution 24, 25, 28, and that the governing board adopted on April 25th, 2024, which addressed the district's structural deficit spending. The district is projecting an operating deficit of approximately 6.36 million, representing 10.954% of the district's unrestricted general budget expenditures for our outgo for fiscal year 24-25.
Are you making a motion, Clerk Rudolph?
I'm not, there's like, whoop, four
Thank you.
pages.
Sorry.
I see all the yellow on here. I'm supposed to read all of that, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Enrollment attendance and state funding. The district's 2024 first interim report reflects declining enrollment. The district used a computed average of the prior 3 years ADA to calculate its LCFF entitlement, which reduces the impact of declining enrollment on projected revenues. Continued declines in enrollment and attendance will result in a loss of revenue for the district in future years. Recommend the district carefully monitor its enrollment and attendance trends and adjust financial projections for the current and subsequent fiscal years accordingly to reflect the resulting impact. Staffing needs and facilities planning should also be assessed and adjusted based on the projected rate of the decline in enrollment. Thank you for providing documentation that supports the district's positive certification. Sure, one more page, I think. No, that's it. We hope these comments are helpful to the district's administration and board, and as you plan for the remainder of 2024-25 and develop your projections for 2024-25, 2025-26, and 2026-27, we express our appreciation to the district staff for their cooperation during our review. If our office may be of further assistance, please call me. Catherine R. Connell. I'd like to receive them.
So that's your motion to accept and file the correspondence?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. On a motion by Clerk Rudolph, seconded by Trustee Phillips to accept and file the correspondence from LA County Office of Education, please vote on your device. Oh, any comments or questions I should ask? Please vote on your devices. Motion carries 5-0. Superintendent Castro.
Thank you, President Coronado. Next, we have the superintendent's report. Wanted to share a highlight with you from some pictures from our Peace Parade and MLK celebrations from Green, Twain, and Mitchell. So we made sure that students, even today, I had an opportunity to visit Green, and we were still honoring and commemorating the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. So it was wonderful to see. So here are some pictures for your enjoyment. I did want to share that during the fires, we have some student advocates that were actively involved in collecting resources for the victims of our fires. And I wanted to give a shout out and acknowledge the work of Rogers students, their leadership classes, and their AVID classes who sponsored a donation drives for the families impacted by the recent fires. And they went out during the weekend and distributed those. So just a reminder from my office, there was a change. We have our board self-evaluation and superintendent's mid-year check-in on February 1st, which is a Saturday. So we will serve breakfast at 8:30 and our meeting will be from 9 to 12. So I'll make sure to share this correspondence with you as well.
And from the HR department, there was a reminder email to go out today, but just another reminder that our retirement incentive deadline is tomorrow at 4, and that anyone interested that hasn't already communicated to make sure they contact the HR department before the deadline.
Does it look hopeful?
Yes.
Thank you.
And coming soon, we are having a one-day hiring fair. We look into where any applicants can do everything in one day. So they don't have to make multiple trips. We're going to do the whole process. We have there will be a flyer coming out in social media communication, if not tomorrow, by Monday. And so we're looking to fill for our summer RAP program leader positions. So anyone interested in just working during the summer for the RAP program, and then also for our sub positions for custodians, our food service assistants, and our instructional assistants to build our pool more with our subs. So we're excited about that, and we'll hopefully learn some things from there that we can help improve the process along the way too for applicants in the future. The one-day hiring fair is going to be March 4th. And like I said, communication should be coming out, if not tomorrow, by early next week. And then our current employment opportunities, just reminding anyone listening or following up, you can always go to EdJoin or the career tab on the LESD webpage. Thank you.
And from the business department, I am very excited to share that the Rogers admin project is coming to an end. We have fire alarm testing this weekend. The plan is to have the staff move in next week, and occupancy will start Monday, February 3rd. And in terms of the upcoming ribbon cutting event, I'll work closely with Superintendent Castro's office to coordinate a ribbon cutting event for this construction project. Yes, very long. I also want to share that earlier this month, the governor released his proposed budget for the 25-26 year. Overall, the California economy continues to grow and recover from the pandemic, but there are some uncertainties with the economy. Specifically, and for example, the inflation. Inflation is still sticking around a lot longer than what we have hoped for. And the slow interest rate reductions by the federal government is definitely still affecting the housing market. But overall, the budget projects a $17 billion surplus with healthy reserves, and it's growing in a healthy trajectory. Overall, I do want to note that the state remains vulnerable to some impacts of possible tariffs that's coming down the pipeline and changes to the immigration policy, which are significant risk to our economy and budget assumptions. Overall, at the school level, there appears to be no cuts to education funding. And in addition to no educational cuts, we're looking at a COLA of 2.43 for the 25-26 year. This year's COLA was 1.07. And for the out years, it's looking like it's going to be in the mid 3.5% for the out year COLAs. So earlier I mentioned that there were going to be no cuts to education funding. There's actually going to be some increase in educational funding. The governor is proposing a new discretionary grant for education. This grant is supposed to amount to $1.8 billion for the state. This translates to about $300 per ADA for each student in the district. Also, last year there was a proposal to reduce ELOP, Learning Recovery Block Grant funding, but this year he's restoring that. That amounts to $378 million. He's also going to be fully funding the TK transition. TK staffing ratio will go from 12-1 to 10-1 starting the 25-26 school year. And he's also going to increase funding for the ELOP program.
Nice.
Then from the Educational Services Department, just wanted to remind the community that we are very excited to have enrollment season coming right around the corner. This week we started with the 6th grade parent orientations, and I attended both of them. They were full houses at both sites, and really want to thank the administration and the counselors and the bands and the cheerleaders who really brought their schools to life. So I'm excited for our 5th graders to be continuing on to the 6th grade. And then as we continue on going into next week, we will be beginning informational sessions for kindergarten and transitional kindergarten as well. And these are dates that are available on the website for everybody to see. I invite the entire Lawndale community who have transitional kindergarten age, which is turning 4 by September 2nd, or age 5, which is also by September 2nd, to attend our school or attend our informational meetings. Dual language program informational meetings will begin next week at Billy Mitchell at Mark Twain Elementary. And then in February, we will have one for the middle school dual language programs as well. Those 3 dates also include tours of the school. There are tours available at each of our sites, and I invite the community to sign up for those as well. Then I also wanted to just bring us back to instruction and teaching and learning, and just a very quick little snapshot about how we are bringing back our data-driven practices. We kind of introduced those drivers last year, and we had introduced iReady last year as well. And I wanted to kind of brief the board on what it's looking like now, middle of the year, 2nd year. We've had 2 assessments, and an example, the benchmark assessments from September to December. What we do is we take those scores, and this is a district snapshot of the progress that we've made from September through December across the school sites. We take this data at the district level, but I also want to assure the board that this kind of analysis is going on at each one of our school sites. And this analysis, in turn, isn't just turning into conversations about what we're going to do. We're actually bringing it back to our students and how is it impacting each one of our students. So a practice that we introduced at the beginning of the year, which was to look at our students' data by face and by name. You can see the picture at the bottom there of some students on little cards, and we call these, it's called a data wall. And what we do here's an example of a sample of our students that at the beginning of the year were already demonstrating that they were struggling. So at the very beginning of the year, these students were all in the red or the yellow, which means that they are significantly below grade level. We identified those students across the school district, across the different school sites, and then the schools have been working with them. And then we went back and we revisited those students and their progress, and we're very pleased to see that a great number of them are now moving up as they're getting the services that they need and the support that they need. So that's the kind of practice that I wanted to highlight, to share, to say that the progress when we're doing these assessments, it's not just living in a staff meeting, it's actually impacting our students. And so that is an ongoing process. We continuously do it throughout the year. And we'll continue with more analysis and data presentations. We will be having a mid-year LCAP presentation next month that you'll get some more information about our data that is related to our LCAP goals as well. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Comments, questions from the board? Thank you. You know, I haven't seen data walls, and I'm glad that we're instituting them across the district, but I remember the days of Dr. Dayla Sims at Anderson. Her data wall was there very prominent in the office as you walked in. I'm glad to see it's coming back. It seems to be making a difference. Superintendent Castro?
Approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of December 19th, 2024.
I'll move. I'll move.
Second.
On a motion by trustee Burris and seconded by trustee Phillips to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of December 19th, 2024. Any comments, questions, changes to the minutes from the board?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Hearing none, will everyone please vote on their devices? Motion carries 5-0. We have no expulsions or readmissions, correct?
Correct.
Superintendent Castro. Consent items. All items appearing under the consent items, SELPA consent items, superintendent action items, and SELPA superintendent action items are adopted by one single motion unless a member of the board or the superintendent requests that any such item be removed from the agenda or voted on separately.
I'm bringing forth consent item 6.03 through and including 6.20 for approval.
I'll move.
On a motion by trustee Burris, seconded by trustee Morales to approve and or ratify consent items 6.03 through 6.20. Any comments, questions, discussions from the board?
No, ma'am.
Superintendent Castro, would Dr. Ho like to talk about 6.14?
Dr. Ho, would you like to talk about item 6.14 warrants for general and federal funds?
You don't have to say much because we just heard the audit, so.
Yeah, no, this item is in relations to payments that were issued outside of the purchase order process. And so usually when it's related to commercial B warrants, that's what it's about.
Thank you. Any other comments, questions, discussion from the board? Hearing none. On a motion by trustee Burris, seconded by trustee Morales to approve and ratify 6.03, 6.20, please vote on your devices. Motion carries 5-0. Superintendent Castro?
Thank you, President Coronado. I'm bringing forward SELPA consent item 7.03 for approval.
Move. I'll second.
On a motion by trustee Morales, seconded by trustee Burris to approve SELPAT purchase orders totaling $41,023.12. Any comments, questions, discussion from the board? Therefore, please vote on your devices. Motion carries 5-0. Superintendent Castro?
I'm bringing forward superintendent's action items 8.03 through and including 8.19 for approval.
I'll move.
On a motion by trustee Phillips, seconded by clerk Rudolph, to approve and or ratify superintendent action items 8.03, including and through 8.19. Any comments, questions, or discussion from the board?
No, ma'am.
Superintendent Castro, would you like to highlight 8.09?
The calendar.
Yes, so this is the calendar for the board meetings for the upcoming school year through June.
Of 2026.
Yes.
Okay. We're in year 2025. This goes through 6 months. And we're talking about 2026?
Yes, I'm sorry.
No, please.
I thought it was always January through December. It goes from one reorganization meeting to the next. That's how I remember it, but I was showing some information now that says it goes through this next school year.
And next school year.
Yeah.
Because the school year ends in September of 2020. I mean,
So we're missing
June
the
of
first few
2025.
months.
We'll go, okay, fiscal goes through end of July.
July 1st.
Mhm.
I thought it was July 31st. It doesn't matter. But this is going through 2026.
And it doesn't even start till July, right?
Because we've already approved the other ones that ended in June.
If the board would prefer that we move forward doing it from reorganization to reorganization, we can do that. And we can present a calendar at the next board meeting reflecting those dates.
That would satisfy me. Because if I were from the community and I looked at this, I wouldn't know when the board meetings are for the first 6 months of this year.
Because they're already on.
Are those on the website? They're on the website.
Because they're already on the books right now. Right.
Yeah, but the board can go back and disapprove and reapprove.
Yeah, we've always done it from July to,
Have we?
yeah.
Why don't we
But
do
it
that
doesn't
so,
matter.
so that we're all clear?
Yeah, so it's whatever the board would prefer.
If you don't mind, trustee Phillips, I would like to do that to satisfy everyone
Okay.
on this item.
Okay.
So December 2024 through December 2025.
It'll be January 2025 through December 2025.
January through December 2025. And then December 2025, we would,
Then at the next organization
Move
meeting, we go January
that, right.
2026 through December 2026.
yes. Right. 12 calendar months.
And when I remind anyone about the board being able to do that, sometimes we don't even know that we can go back and change something and reapprove something. Sometimes we're like, no, we've already done it. Well, we're still the board. We can still make changes as we see fit. Okay, thank
So it's
you.
whatever makes sense to the board and to the community, right? So we can do that. We'll bring forth another calendar at the next board meeting.
Okay, thank you.
So this is tabled.
Or are we removing it, tabling it? What are we doing?
We made a motion to approve, so do you want to amend your motion?
Did I make, oh, I did do it, huh? Madam President, can I amend my motion to table 8.09?
Absolutely.
Thank
All right,
you.
with the second of it. All right,
January, December. Also.
Okay,
we're just stuck in our ways.
everything is changeable.
Yep.
Okay, on a motion by trustee Phillips, seconded by clerk Rudolph, to approve and to ratify 8.03 through 8.19, with the exception 8.09 being tabled to the next board meeting. Any other further discussion, comments from the board?
No, ma'am.
Please vote on your devices. We didn't vote. No, I know. Should I say we voted? Motion carries 5-0. Superintendent Castro.
We have no SELPA consent items. We have no items removed for separate board. We did have two items from trustee Phillips. The election of delegate for the LA County School Trustee Association and also the representative for Measure CL. If you'd like to nominate somebody, and then we would put it on the next agenda for a vote and approval.
Please, trustee Phillips.
Again, this should have been done at the reorganization meeting, so if we can try to make that correction. And we usually bring up the name at the same time that we vote. But you guys can nominate whatever.
Will you do, can we nominate you for both?
I'll be happy to do it.
Yeah. I'm making a motion.
No, we're not moving. We're just asking it be placed on the agenda for next board meeting.
Placed on the agenda with next agenda with
Mhm.
and
And
February
include
5th.
Ann Phillips as the nominee?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Yes. Well,
She's the only one glutton for
that
punishment.
was why I made the motion.
You're not going to see me attending all of those meetings.
I think trustee Morales might want to do it this time.
Would you be interested, Adim?
So we'll add it to the next agenda with your name on it, and the board can vote at that time.
At this time, Superintendent Castro, are we going to talk about that one parking lot item?
Yes.
Could you do that now? Is that possible?
Sure.
Thank you.
So we had the parking lot item from trustee Coronado regarding the dinner with our neighboring districts. And I've mentioned it. There have been a lot of challenges in LA County, considering, the fires and all of the school closures. So I will revisit it. I'm actually going to be with my colleagues next week at the Access Superintendent Symposium, so we can revisit it then. There are some logistics that we need to work out. We do need to have an agenda, so there are no Brown Act violations. We need to figure out a location, catering, cost sharing, and all of those wonderful things. So I'm hoping to be able to grab them while we're all together and work out the details, to gauge their interest, and then move forward.
There's also an agenda. You've already thought about what could be on the agenda, correct?
Yes, so
training
one
for
of
school
the
board
suggestions that I had made to the superintendents, and nothing formal, was there is the equity training. Equity training that board members have to have, and we would be willing to host that. And then I know that Dr. Nauman had shared that he could have his culinary students provide the catering. So we would just have to work out those logistics with the other board members. But I think at least two of our school districts would be interested in doing that and hosting something. So I'll keep the board informed.
Thank you.
Thank you. We need names on there. Trustee Morales? Is that your light? Trustee Clerk Rudolph?
I just had something I wanted to kind of, FYI, when we used to have these luncheons, we included the cities.
This is not a luncheon.
Oh, so it's not where we used to get together and have.
No, not when we did
You
this.
can bring that up at another meeting, but this is a
Well, no, I think
luncheon.
that'd be harder to organize. That's why I was
Oh, no.
just bring it for FYI that we used to do it that way, but I like this way better.
This is just for school board members.
Right.
Like
I say
Please.
something? Yeah, they were different. We used to do one where we would invite the city
And then they
and
would
we
invite
would-
us.
and they would invite us. But when we have done it with just the other school districts, the city is not involved.
I know, but the other school districts came with us.
No,
Sentinel
usually.
Valley did. That was
Yeah,
the
they
only
did.
other school district that we invited.
Yeah.
It was a city of
Hey.
Sentinel Valley.
yes, because
Because we feed
they-
each other's schools.
Right.
Yeah.
But not the other schools like Hawthorne. And this is what
No.
we're inviting the other school districts.
I know.
Trustee Morales?
Yeah, thank you. I just wanted to see if it's possible that if for whatever reason we don't meet any time, between now and June, then we can just forget about this whole thing, because I know we have been dragging this and it seems to go nowhere. And so why keep it on the parking lot? If they're not interested, they're just not interested. We have to move on. So
Well.
Yeah.
It's been my understanding.
did my comment make you?
Yeah,
Compliment.
you made her choke.
Well, that may be true. It's my understanding that other school districts in the valley are interested. But I don't disagree with you that if we don't get interest and we don't come up with a date and invite, and if they show up or do not RSVP, that I agree with you, then we cancel. And we just do our own training, which I think would be a waste of money for the other school districts who don't want to participate this because it's a mandatory training that we're talking about. Trustee Burris.
The only thing I wanted to say, because I know you're coughing so much, is that the superintendents may not, I want to make sure that the superintendents go back and talk to their boards. Because what Trustee Coronado was saying is that when we were at CSBA, we did speak to a lot of the other districts and their board members are interested. And they may not be communicating that to their superintendent. And that's the only thing that we're saying is that, you know, other than that, and then if they know about it and we don't get any response, I agree to just let it go.
Let it go.
It's been in the parking lot forever.
Yeah.
Gotten several tickets, right?
Ha. Outdated tags.
And put it on.
I think the president should get a shock or something when a light goes on so that they know.
It's hard. She needs names.
It's not only difficult to see, but we're going to put names on there. So
I get it. I'm just kidding.
To whomever's the president will have it easier. And I said, please don't pick on me when I'm president. Do it nicely, please. Okay, so board member comments.
No, we still have a light.
Oh, I'm sorry. If I look down, I can't see. Trustee Phillips.
I say on that topic, if Lawndale wants to have this with Centinela, I say we do it with just the 2 school districts because the culinary department is really, really good. And we should really be there. So even if it's just the 2 districts, we'll get kicked off this year and maybe the others will join us.
Absolutely.
But Lennox indicated an interest and so did Hawthorne.
So did Weisburn. They're still part of Centinela Valley Trustee Association.
Oh, well, we can talk about that. Okay, all right. Superintendent Castro.
We're on board member comments.
Yes, we are. Thank you for the reminder. I'm going to ask, you're so organized, Trustee Burris, if you could help me always remember who went last and who went first last time in your book.
Oh, okay. I didn't do it.
No, because I know last time Trustee Morales went first because it was tradition that the outgoing board president is first. So we're going to flip it this way, and I'm going to start with Clerk Rudolph.
I'll be the fastest one. I just kind of want to make a comment. I really missed everybody. It's been, what, a month since we've seen anyone. A lot of things can happen in a month. And I just hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. And I hope their year's starting off better than I think several of us aren't starting off too well. So it's only going to get better. With a group like us, it can't do anything but go uphill. So thank you very much. I enjoyed being here. That's it.
Thank you. Trustee Burris?
Oh, God. That was weird. I don't have anything to report. Like Trustee Rudolph said, I hope everybody had a good holiday and you're rest and relaxed and ready to come back to work, and we move forward from here. It's a new year and we're going to do good.
From this day forward.
Trustee Phillips?
Trying to find something else also, but just a reminder that this Monday there is a LACSTA meeting from 6 to 7 and it's on Zoom. So you can click on that. You should have the email inside in your on your email. You should have the invitation. Just click on that.
I saw it.
6 to 7 on Zoom. And I think the email was on January 15th, something like that. And I can't find it now, but Region 24 for CSBA, which is our region, they were trying to do a collection of books for the fire area because libraries and schools went down as well. And a board member in Malibu is willing to come and pick them up.
I may have some.
I may have some as well.
I'm talking like 3 or 4 bankers boxes.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that many.
But I'll find the original email so I can see when we can do that.
Okay.
And I'll
Thank you.
send that out to the rest of the board members.
I know that I'd spoken to
cabinets.
Superintendent Castro about our district doing something. It's
Mhm.
good to see that Rogers students stepped up. And I know that she's directed or asked or requested that Mr. Paredes look into doing something as well. We have to remember, donations for now are great, but this is going to be a long time
It is.
in restoring those communities and schools. This isn't something that's going to get fixed in one day. So if we don't donate right now, as
It's
a
okay.
district, we can do it 6 months when classrooms are being filled again with students and they need books, or the libraries are being rebuilt and they need books.
I agree. I think it's the food right now and the clothing that's more important to the families. And so if we pop up with a bunch of books in July, that's fine.
And I don't know what the
That's what-
governor, the state legislature will do in terms of emergency funds for these situations.
Mhm.
Maybe if you hear something, you'll let us know. Thank you. Any,
Oh, that's all. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, Nadeem, Mr. Trustee Morales?
Just have one thing to say, and that is that we just recently celebrated Martin Luther King's birthday.
Yes.
And I always like to bring him because he has been a great inspiration to myself and my family. Open our minds, you know, to see that there's a lot more out there. I know he fought for justice, and he believed that all people are connected one way or another. Something that, you know, a lot of times we forget about it. I was out of town last week, and this conversation came about, and the person I was talking to had a misunderstanding of what he was all about. You know, in his comment, he said that, you know, he fought for Black people, and it was a teaching moment for me, you know, because sometimes people just get the wrong information, and I said no, it was for all of us, you know, and something that you know, Martin Luther King believed that injustice affects all of us, not just some people. And his life and legacy, you know, was all about equity, you know, inclusion, diversity, you know, something that is big nowadays, but, you know, it has taken a lot of years for that to, and people to really understand how important that is. But most important, just the way that he carried himself, you know, when he was doing all the protest. No violence, you know, just love and peace. And thanks to him, you know, he always says, you know, I believe in superheroes, but because they do exist, and he's one of them. Thank you.
Thank you. I liked that photo with the heart and all the different colored hands that we were shown earlier. Trustee Burris? Trustee Phillips, we really do need names on these lights.
Yeah, you do. Just a follow-up for that. I do appreciate the comments on Martin Luther King Jr. We had a huge 2-hour worship service at our church. We do it every year at different churches. And this year it was at our church, celebrating his life and what he stood for. And I agree, he did it through peace and word instead of violence. I remember the day he was assassinated. I forgot to include this, but Dr. Lusk, who's now the president of CSBA, has agreed to come and visit Region 24, probably in April. And we can be prepared that she may come to Lawndale and see it. Everyone's signing up, so I don't know if she'll get this far west. But I've spoken with Superintendent Castro to be prepared for that, and she's agreed that we could highlight something for that. But it's really a good honor to have the president to come, because every year they give a report and they tell us which districts they go to. It'd be nice to highlight Lawndale.
Hope we get enough notice so I can give notice at work.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Um, it's important to remember Martin Luther King. It's important to celebrate his birthday. I am very concerned about the future of the departments at the federal level, talking about diversity and equity and inclusion. And with that, Trustee Phillips, do you have something, somebody else? Okay. All right, thank you. So, again, Dr. Ho, want to thank you, thank Monique, her department. And as you said, Alex, for coming, Alex, correct? Luis, I'm so sorry, Luis, for doing an outstanding job and giving us a white sheet of paper on the audits. We talk about how great our employees are, and it's the truth. Today, I was in the lobby at about 4:36, 37. And there was a parent in the class, in the lobby. I'm so sorry. And she wanted information on the ESL classes. Well, I personally don't know anything, and I didn't know what to do. And the person who's in charge of that, correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Hadogi, is Brenda Cepeda. Well, it was after hours, but I went down to her office, and she was there, and I told her the situation, and she immediately got up and came and spoke to the woman. I think handed her a business card. I didn't stay for the conversation, but I thank her personally, and I think she's just reflective of what our employees do. So please tell her I mentioned her. I found some memorabilia I offered to share, and if you don't want to, that's fine. I must have gone to Twain at one time and read a story and bought some books for the classroom, probably because my nephew Joshua Coronado was in the class. And I found his name written when he was in kindergarten in this book, and there are several little 30-something. So anyway, they drew pictures of cupcakes and dinosaurs as best they could. So I will keep this. But I found some past memorabilia, and I've given that to Superintendent Castro. So today, the fire extinguisher people came to my classroom. And I said, I wouldn't know what to do. And we talked about the acronym PASS, point, aim, sweep. And I don't know what the second S stands for. And I said, really, I don't know what to do. And he said, you pull this. And I said, but there's a tie on it. He says, well, you just rip the tie off. And I tried ripping the tie off. It took me twice to rip it off. So I'm just asking that at the cabinet level, there be a conversation about a training for teachers on how to use a fire extinguisher. Because I don't know if everyone knows how. I certainly don't know. I wish that Trustee Morales would round up several fire extinguishers from his safety training and maybe teach us. They're a valuable tool when you have a small fire going on, even though I know the rule is call 911 first, then try to extinguish the flames. And lastly, I just hope that if anyone has family or friends who are affected by the devastation north of us, that we keep them in prayer and we remind ourselves of tomorrow's not promised to anyone, and we need to always look out for our neighbors and our family. And with that, I'll say Happy New Year to everyone. And is there any other business to come before the board? With that, we will adjourn at 6:58.